to today's talks. Whether you're a student, you're a faculty member, or you're even a guest, we're glad that you're here to join this meaningful conversation. So before we begin this, I just want to have a side note that we will serve the refreshments at the end of the event, where you can take it in mind that our guests are also observing Ramadan. So today, let's start. We're here to explore the lived experiences of ethnic minorities in Hong Kong through a powerful medium called photography. So, photography, there aren't just images, there are pictures where you share stories, you share struggles, you share the success stories of the different diversity, the multiculturalism of Hong Kong. And who better to guide us through these narratives than our distinguished speaker, Dr. Rizwan Ullah. And him being born and raised in Hong Kong, he's not only an educator, but also a researcher and a passionate advocate for EMI communities. With 20 years of experiences addressing NEC education, he's also a vice principal, a district counselor, and a recipient of the Medal of Honor for his incredible community work. He's also sat on numerous advisory boards, running from Equal Opportunities Committees to the Youth Committee. And so if anyone understands the complexities and beauties of ethnic minority experiences, and it's him. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Rizwan Ullah.
Right, so good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, thank you to UST and all the students here giving me an opportunity to share some of my stories. Okay, when I was first approached to give this talk, I thought probably many of you would have heard a lot of theories, research, and all these things. And I thought, okay, let me not use that angle. Let me use another, well, I would say a humanistic angle, where I'm going to share some of the pictures, photos of me, some moments in my life, and then I try to arrange them, not really, but some of them I don't know why I put it later, but okay. But putting them together will actually narrate my story, and from my story, you'll be able to know, like us, like the ethnic minority who grew up in Hong Kong, the problem they face, the challenges they face, and also, it's not always so dark. There are also opportunities. Positive energy I'll also show. And I think I have about an hour to share, and then I'll also leave some time if you have any questions, okay? So, any questions you can ask. Okay, so, well, you know my name, but I'd like to explain, well, Rizwan Ullah, it's an Arabic name. It means key to heaven. Okay, just for your information, okay? But then, in 2019, I was born in the 80s, okay? I didn't have a Chinese name, okay? And not having a Chinese name in Hong Kong was a trouble, was a problem, okay? As the students just mentioned, I serve on various boards. There's one board, Equal Opportunities Commission, and actually I'm about to retire, because the government rule is if you sit on those boards, you can only sit for 6 years maximum for one board. And I think I've exceeded that because it's my 8th year. And I think I need to retire from that and take up other new challenges. It's all voluntary work, okay, by the way. So there was a press conference in 2019 that I need to deliver a report on the Chinese learning gap to the media. Then our Equal Opportunities Commission chairman at that time, Ricky Chu, he gave me a call one night before the event. He said, Riz, do you want a Chinese name? And I said, why? I was always thinking of having a Chinese name, but then couldn't find anything good. But then he said, no, listen, you see, tomorrow is going to be very odd. You're going to talk about Chinese language learning, and when you're sitting in the middle of the table, your name is only in English, there's no Chinese inside. I thought for a second, yes, it makes sense. It will not be impactful. Then he said, oh, I'll help you make a name. I knew he is very good in his name. Unlike some teachers nowadays, for EM students who study in local system, the teachers will help them have a Chinese name. And those Chinese names are Lei San and all these weird names. Lei Xiong is good, okay, but then like you have these names which have no thoughts. Like you just have an actor name, Lao Dagwa and Guang Fu Sin, but most of those names are very weird. The translation is also not really appropriate also sometimes. So he gave me this. Okay, this name. So to my Chinese audience here, what do you think of this Chinese name?
Very good.
Okay, so let me explain the three words, okay? Like the first is the surname, it's Lei. Okay, Lei Rizwan Ullah. Okay, so it's one of the richest families in Hong Kong. I'm from humble beginning, okay, so yeah. And then the second is Ji Tok, philosophy. Okay, and then the last one is Wang Kun. Sometimes when you see manual life, you see the Wang Lei, okay? But it has no connection with that. But I put it on my social media when I went that day, and then I received instant comment. They said, "Wow, your name is so grand." Then that identity thing start kicking in. I feel more a person belonging to here. So name makes a difference. Well, you have to keep your name, but you also need to have a name like this. So this is, well, to many of you, it might mean very small or like immaterial. But I can tell you many of the ethnic minorities in Hong Kong, they don't even have a good, proper Chinese name. And this is something that can be worked on. Did you study in the local system?
Yeah.
Do you have a Chinese name?
No.
Do you want to have a nice one?
I'm happy with mine.
And you?
No, I didn't study in the local system.
Okay. But if you apply for jobs, if you have a Chinese name inside, very different. When sometimes some people call me and then I call them and say, "What's your name?" And I tell Lei Zhiwang, Lei San, Mr. Lee. And then when they see me, okay. So okay. Well, that's me. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I was born to born to Pakistani parents. Okay, my dad came to Hong Kong in 1965. Okay, so we were a grassroots family. We were growing up, and it's okay to be from a grassroots family. And we had 5 siblings. I was the eldest, and I have 3 more sisters. But I find it difficult to find a photo of our childhood with all the 5 of us. But we have photos now. But when we look at these, a lot of good memories. So all of us in our family, like both my mom and dad, they were not educated. They didn't have the opportunity to go to school. But what they did, they make sure all of us studied equally. And I can tell you, my sisters are doing much better than me. Okay, in terms of education and all these things. Probably because of my experience, they benefit from that. But yeah, anyway, so we all studied in Hong Kong, and I don't know, it's coincident or good influence. We have heard of a lot of bad influence, right? But the good influence that we had, all the 5 of us are in teaching field. And then at least 2 of us have PhDs. And then that's why we always believe in one thing. It's if you have education, you can empower, and you can be empowered, and then you can climb up you can have the upward mobility. So this is something that my parents were able to understand, I think, at that time, and make us study. And because usually there's a common perception that for Pakistani families in Hong Kong, the girls are not allowed to go to school and stuff. It's still there, but it doesn't mean there are no families that they're overcoming this. A lot of changes has already taken place. Then, I don't know if you know this. This is one of the hak choy, like, you know, I don't know in English what you call it, hak choy, you do that. Like, it's something like social media age, like I try to keep this as a secret. But then I don't know, somehow this came out. Some people are laughing here, like you understand what I'm saying, but to my audience who don't understand what that is, so you can get from the context, okay? That's me. Okay? You can see different school names here, right below. And this is a star, there's a girl here. Where is she? Here. Steffi. Okay? So, what is this? This is actually, you know, at my time when I was growing up, there was a magazine called Yes magazine. And every year they have a contest to choose who is the most handsome boy in the school. And a girl in the school, they call it 好说好发, okay? For me, like, well, I didn't have any clue because when I was studying in my primary school, I studied in a school with non-Chinese speaking students, and then when I was studying in secondary school from from Form 1 to Form 5 together. But I took the public exam, HKCEE back then. Then I took my A-levels. When I was doing my HK A-level, I was in a class with, I was the only Pakistani, and the rest were all Chinese friends. So one of my friends, when I was in Form 6, he nominated me without my consent. And then he came to me and said, look, if I have nominated you already, if you win, I will, like, he will get $10,000 for being a nominator. And then he told me, you will also win a lot of things. I said, really? I didn't know what the whole thing was about, because at that time it was not like now you can just go online and check. No, at my time, we're talking about in 1999 and 2000. We didn't have internet at that time, or even if we have, we don't have so much information. Then I went through this. Like, the funny part was, I'm not a talented singer. I don't know how to dance. So I thought, like, what am I going to do? Then when we started, then I think I was able to win 2 awards. One was Hao, okay? You can compare. You look at the people here. I understand. Well, it's subjective, but then I beat these guys out already. Okay, and then the second thing was the performance I won also. Do you know what performance I did? No? Do you want to know?
Sure.
The outstanding performance. I like to watch Kung Fu and these fighting movies. So I designed a 3-minute show where the first 1.5 minutes I do the Chinese Tai Chi. Okay, Tai Chi with Wang Fei Hong's music. And then in the middle of that, then I switched to the Bruce Lee, that fighting scene music, and play nunchucks.
Hey, can you do it again?
No. So that itself actually, I think, dazzled the people, and the creativity was there and won. Okay, but again, I mean, it was a very good experience, and inside I get to learn a lot of things. But then nowadays, people still make fun of this. So I thought, okay, why not share this dark history, something I wanted to hide. Then, when I finished my studies, and then I also, like, these are some of my friends, we established a organization called the Hong Kong Pakistani Students Association. The idea is very simple. We went to a McDonald's, having meal, like I started as a teacher at that time. And then we thought, okay, why not? We saw a lot of these kids have problems going to school. Or like, they didn't want to go to school. Their academic underachievement was there. Then we thought, oh, why don't we establish an association? We look after our ethnic minorities. And then we started. And that's how I started my community services. We had no clue. We had no money. We were just eating ice cream at McDonald's and had this idea, and then we pursued it. Okay? And then I fast forward, like while I was working, then I get an idea. Okay, this is something that we can look further. So I did my master's and my PhD also in this area. And my PhD was actually looking at the provision of Chinese language education for non-Chinese speaking students. It's a critical review on this topic. So I look at why we can't learn Chinese, so we can read my thesis. Okay, I think many of the things I wrote in 2011 is still relevant to today also. So, and then I as I've said, I started teaching in 2003. I worked in one school with high concentration of ethnic minority, and then probably I worked there for 15 years. Then I started to think of a question. Do I want to work in a school with high concentration of ethnic minority? It's okay, it's perfectly fine. But then I was looking at, it doesn't send a good message or signal to the society. Let me change to a school with mainstream students. And actually, it was very difficult to find it. Like I came across, and I was asked in the interview. They asked me, do I have any dealings with local parents? I said, yeah, but not in school level, but from outside, serving on different government advisory boards. Then I thought, okay, let me give it a shot, and then the school gave me a chance, and I switched to a school in Taipo, like in Bongzhenghao. Okay, I don't know if you know, in Taipo. Then I worked there 4 years as a vice principal there. And then, after 4 years, I think it's enough already. No more challenge. And like I think it's already at a saturated level. I think it's enough. Like my excitement of going to work was declining because like my main task. Also I work there. I look after the student development there. That was one area, but then it was difficult to hire staff there. So I have to look after the school, one of the campus operations. Now the problem is, to you, many of you think, oh, it's okay, campus operation. But the problem is I have to look after the major repairs. Like in schools, the repair, we're talking about $10–20 million repair every year. And those projects, you have to read a lot of Chinese documents. And when I was a kid, I was born in the 80s. We didn't have Chinese to learn. I didn't go to school and learn Chinese. I learned English and French in school. Okay? And then my Chinese, I pick it up from the football playground. So usually you understand like what language you can learn in football playground. And then I had the privilege actually, made a lot of local friends, and I pick up my Cantonese from there. And then when I was working in school, like my mentors, like my principal, they use a lot of Chinese all the time. So my exposure to Chinese increased greatly, and documents, everything was in Chinese. Along the line, even on government and advisory boards, they do provide English. They will ask, because in the whole committee, like 15 people, usually I'm the odd one. They will speak to me in English with them. I'll just tell them, I just tell them, no need to translate, don't waste your time, translate documents. And then I force myself to read. So now I can, usually if we have education bureau circulars, I can understand 70 to 80%. But writing, I can't. No, writing there's a way, like WhatsApp, I reply in Chinese. And the people, and, we should take advantage of technology. With AI, everything can help. Do you know I regularly contribute, I have a feature, like I have a column in Hong Kong. Every month I have an article. I write in English, I use AI to translate. And then to make sure it's what I'm saying. I convert the document into PDF, and PDF there's a function. It reads the whole thing to you. Then I'll ask my staff in the district office. I said, can you help me change this? This is not what I want. And then I publish it. What I'm trying to say is, it's not the language. It's actually your idea counts. If you have ideas, now you don't have to worry. AI is there to help. But I still remember like those years when you ask for tender, invite the contractors, they write their tender documents in Chinese, like the uniform suppliers and all these things, then you have to read the Chinese document. And then that's how I learned my Chinese in the hard way. But I enjoy it. Okay, now I'm working on my Putonghua, but it'll take some time. Okay, yeah, and then I mentioned about this. So and then I went to this school after, like this year I joined this school. So it's a new, different environment. Do you find anything different in this school? Like I went to a mainstream school, and like me being a Muslim, I went to a Christian school. Okay, looking after student development aspect, and believe it or not, with my colleagues, like especially colleagues who are responsible for Christianity development, I sit down with them and talk about how you can make your curriculum more robust. How can you make your students more Christian? Do you find it ironic? Okay? And another thing I'm responsible inside it, I look after the area of national security education, basic law, and patriotic education. So Pakistani. Doing it. Okay. So you know, like there are a lot of opportunities. So like in Hong Kong, but it's just that how you can deal with it. So here, in my free time, like now I don't have that much of free time. I also contribute something back to the academic as well. I did some research on ethnic minority parenting, and also looking at how schools manage students with special education needs. So I'm working on these. But then, since last year, after being a district councillor, I contribute from writing columns. Okay, but I believe upon completing my one term, I will have 48 articles. And then I can combine the other literature from there. And I have not counted my contribution to social media and my videos that I regularly make. So that's how I also do the knowledge transfer, okay, in a way, in a different way, in an unorthodox way. So here, from time to time, I also talk about, like this was probably when I was in 2000, and once I switched my school, after serving Delia, then all these opportunities start coming. So my decision was right. I should go to a mainstream school. Okay? Even now, like the school where I teach, do you know how many Pakistani students are there? We have 2,000 students in our school, primary and secondary. How many Pakistani students do you think?
20.
0.
Only one. And that one is because my son. So there are some, but the thing is the diversity, the environment is totally different. Like I'm in an environment where, like when I talk to the kids, like my Chinese is better than those kids. You know who are those kids? The Chinese kids I'm referring to. The Chinese kids will speak English there. Sometimes I feel like sometimes, you know, I look after the area of student development. Sometimes I think I should speak in Cantonese with you so that you understand the values. If I speak in English, sometimes I doubt if you can really understand the value that I'm trying to, you know, mold you. So, so that's the situation. Now, even sometimes when I speak with my colleagues, they're like sometimes they are lost, probably because I think maybe generation gap, or maybe the slang that we use they don't understand. So again, you know, language. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's very simple. If you look at it the other way around, if my Chinese friends here, if your English can be so excellent, so shouldn't that be a big deal? You'll think, no, it's not a big deal. Likewise, if we speak fluent Cantonese, it's not a big deal. We should be able to speak fluent Cantonese in the language. But everyone is working hard on it, so we hope sooner or later we will have more Chinese, non-Chinese speaking individuals who can speak good Chinese. Okay? And I always tell my students, my local Chinese students, I said, look, I know you don't like the Chinese exam, the HKUST is difficult, but don't look at the exam only. If you look at in future, the language will help you a lot, more opportunities. Then yeah, this was the conference I was talking about. This is where I have my first Chinese name used. Okay. So and that was the report where we talk about the Chinese language issue. And then from time to time, I got invited to film different things, and I took part in some filming also. Like you would be thinking, like why I didn't get my career into filming and all these things. Do you know why I didn't? There are two reasons. Reason number one, at that time, I wasn't that, like I was very skinny. Very skinny. And there's no, you can't last long. Second, you look at my skin color. So the role I can play would be gangster, mobster, and all these things. So this is something I don't want. Like I don't think they'll give me a leading role, because the society was not looking at us at that from that perspective. So in movies, I don't think they would change that. Okay. So hopefully in future, the movie I see, the chief executive is maybe a Pakistani inside the movie, a Hong Kong movie, set in the scene of 2080. The chief executive is not no, it can be a Chinese, but Pakistan origin. So you know, like I can be a Chinese national, she can be a Chinese national, you can be a Chinese national, right? You can get the Chinese nationality. So we hope this will come one day, and I'm confident it will, but I don't know when. Okay? So, and then the other thing is, from the community aspect, one thing I learned in my upbringing is the networking is very important, and the connection. So I took advantage of my roles in the government, try to connect different communities together so that the community can benefit. Like this one, she is a good friend of mine, a legislator, Nixie Lam. She just told me one time, hey, the Muslim ladies, they don't go for vaccination because of religious reason. And I stopped for a moment. I said, you have a point. I never thought of this. Like, because like in our family, we were the first group who went for vaccination, but we didn't know, like in our community, a lot of ladies were reserved because they didn't want to be injected outside by male doctors or in that kind of setting. Then she said we should arrange a vaccination. I said, okay, why not? Arrange it in the Kowloon Mosque, Kowloon Masjid. So we had the first vaccination program inside the Kowloon Mosque during COVID. And then 500 or 600 people came for the vaccination. And then we made good use of our the religious asset, the sites, like the Kowloon Mosque, the Sikh temple, to organize different events. So we had the employment fair, and I took the opportunity, like bargain, like KMB approached me, they said we want to do something in the Kowloon Mosque to hire bus captains. Then I gave them two conditions. Condition one, you're going to change the bus stop name that is outside, which is Kowloon Park. I said, the whole road is Kowloon Park. Why can't we just change the bus stop into Kowloon Masjid? And then second, can you please put a $2 savers up there? And don't underestimate this action. I did two things, and I did one main thing. No, two things. First, I promote the religion. Now, I'm not asking everyone to convert to Islam, okay? But letting you know more about Islam. Okay? When you're taking a bus from Tsim Sha Tsui, you will hear, 下一站係九龍清真寺. Okay? Then if you're a tourist, you'll start searching. Well, that is one thing. Second, I think 90% of the committee members in the mosque were skeptical to put that $2 thing there. He said no one will come up. I said no. When you have benefit, people will definitely come.
I went up.
You went up?
Yeah.
How was the experience?
I mean, my Chinese friends, like I was hanging out with like my group of Chinese men, and then they were a bit skeptical. I said, but it's $2. It's and then I convinced the whole group to like get it.
Did you also take the opportunity to visit?
No.
Next time you just take off your shoes and go inside. Make sure don't wear shorts and you're okay.
Yeah.
So this way I think it can allow people to know more about us. It's better than doing an open day. Every day is open day actually now. So we did something similar in the Sikh temple. We got all these big companies in Hong Kong, like from Swire and these big firms to come. Like usually when we think of employment fair, usually we just bring in the hotel jobs and laundry jobs and these sort of things. But then mindset change. I get all those big companies to have their stalls in the Sikh temple in Wan Chai, where we targeted university graduates who are EM or studying in local universities to go there and look for jobs. So in this process, changing employers' mindset, changing the government mindset, and also even telling EM kids, hey, you have a future here in Hong Kong. So these were things that I've been doing. I think I've been doing these kind of community work for almost 20 years plus. So, and I get bored easily. So each time when I do something, I don't like to replicate, I like to change. There should be something new. Then people will come, okay? And then, I didn't know, one thing when I reflect from now to the past, when we talk about the knowledge transfer, I take good advantage of whenever I'm invited by the media or some other media interviews, I will maximize the gain that we can gain from the community. Usually they have planted questions are negative. Okay? Because usually there's a joke in Chinese. Do you know what is considered a news? Like a dog bite a man. Is that a news? How about when I say a man bite a dog? Can that be a news? You see the logic? 即係人咬狗，咪即係狗咬人就唔係新聞啦。人咬翻狗就新聞啦 because you never heard like a man go and bite a dog. So with this, I always try, like when I'm invited, usually the negative questions become very positive. But then what I see is I still get invited all the time. Maybe they don't have another person to go, that's why they invite me. But no, actually I think we bring up good discussion, and I think the narrative has to be very positive. Because some of the media in Hong Kong are very negative, very biased. Okay? And then and another thing I spend some time with these different government officials from time to time, so that it can make life easier for us. When we have policy, the government will be the first, like inside the government, I usually get consulted first. They seek my views, and I do it quite seriously, and give them my findings or my observation, and then give them contact person. Okay, you go and find these and go there and observe, and you know how to change this policy. So I spend a lot of time with these different people all the time. Okay, but then one thing I also noticed in the past, like in the past 4 or 5 years, the issue of ethnic minority is still government priority. So that's why if we are working on the topic of DEI, especially on inclusiveness with regards to the ethnic minority, the government is listening. But now it has reached a stage where too much is being done. When I say too much, that too much has no qualities. Everyone is doing it. But then is it really helping? That's another question we need to look at now. And we have to identify all these different good practices. Let me see, yeah. So I constantly go to different schools, share stories, and then tell the kids, hey, you guys can do better than me. And most of the time, I think to those ethnic minority friends who are sitting here, you're the lucky ones, okay? But there are many unlucky ones where they think there's an invisible ceiling, okay? You cannot go up, stop. So how we can help them? That's something, as an educator, I always, even though I'm not serving in that school settings, I also look at how we can serve. Yeah, and then back to my family part. I have a son, as I told you, a 15-year-old now. So this is where I took him to. Do you know this place? Did this place anyone? Yes, it's Lahore, inside Lahore, near the border between India and Pakistan. So I took my son for patriotic education there. So I do 2 types of patriotic education with my son. First is here, like the Chinese side. No, he's Pakistani, by the way, full Pakistani. My wife is also Pakistani, but he living in Hong Kong, he needs to learn more about here. And also, we cannot forget our own roots, because if you have the roots, you have this cultural asset with you, it's something that is irreplaceable. And a cultured person seems to be, or appears to be, no, actually not seems to appear, is actually more attractive in a setting. Everyone will talk to you. And I make good use of my cultural background. I employ this, have you heard of this thing, this curry diplomacy? No? I make good use of my curry diplomacy to invite friends or new friends over a curry dinner to discuss different things. Or sometimes I have a session where my friends invite me to go to their place and cook for them. And through this, is it a drill? Okay. Shall I continue or? Yes. Okay. Okay, for time being it's a false alarm, okay? Alright. So Is someone accidentally punched the? Is that possible? And someone is very upset with their thumb up. Okay, we continue. Where did I stop? Curry diplomacy, yeah. So I didn't know I'm good at cooking. So I got invited to my friends' places. Usually it's industrial place, big warehouse, and then we have our curry meal and discuss different topics. is no hot dog day. We should treat everyone better. So, with similar mindset, we use these different approaches. And I make good use of food. The food diplomacy, like the curry diplomacy, to let my friends in Hong Kong know more about it. And next time, when you are engaging your friends, there's something we can do. It is something that you can do. Can I use the mic? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. You see, it was.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You see, it was a test. My life was just like this, with a lot of these different tests, and don't give up. And today is my 26th day of fasting. So I still, like, even in classroom, well, now I don't have that much of teaching, but yeah, keep on non-stop once I start it. So anyway, curry diplomacy and using food, and think and change a little bit, then you can get into the young people's mind. Okay, I have a lot of these tricks because I deal with young people. So that's why if you don't use some ingenious ways, pointless. Okay? Then, the school setting, and then, yeah, that was the, so the employment fair, we just changed the bus stop name from Kowloon Park. This was the original name of the bus stop. We changed it to Kowloon Mosque. And in the past 2 years, it's not that I'm an over-religious person. I think, hey, our religion is given a bad name in many places. Why not we change it a little bit? So in the past few years, working on the halal concept, promote halal industry in Hong Kong. Even like the government wants to do more Middle Eastern market, and we let our friends know what's happening. Like, do you know what is halal? Yeah. So one time I was in Taiwan, and they served me a chicken. They say it's halal. I look at the chicken and said, no, that's not halal. Do you know how? Do you know how I could tell? It's very interesting. Halal actually means, it's an Islamic way of slaughtering the meat, where you try to inflict the least pain to the animal when you slaughter them. Okay? So, when we, like for example, when we deal with chicken, the knife has to be very sharp and goes here. Okay? And so when I'm served the chicken with the head on, I can tell it's not butchered in the Islamic way. So still it needs a lot of education. Sometimes people say, the menu is halal because there's no pork inside. Even for some worse places, the ignorance is that the pork is halal. So, okay, well, okay. If you don't know what is halal, please do search it. Yeah, because we'll have, in future, if you have clients or business partners from Middle East, then if you have these knowledge, it will always be better. So the halal was an issue. Like I traveled to many places. They say there's no pork, or there's no pork. It's halal, but actually it's not. So that's why when I travel, I stick to a seafood or pescatarian diet. Easy. No need to worry. Yeah, but then I think the halal concept in China is done quite better than Hong Kong. Hong Kong is trying to catch up, but there's some sign of progression, but it will take some more time. Okay, and scientifically speaking, halal meat is healthier. If you anyone study science, yeah, bio and all these things, you go find out. Okay, and science explains why. It's the way we slaughter has something to do with that. Okay. Then, so yeah, that was the hot dog there I was talking about. You see, Do you see 打晒蛇餅喺度？The students will have to play games. Once they get 4 stamps, they can go and get the hot dog from us. And this was an Italian exchange student. She also helped. So that's how we do it. Very labor intensive, but very good. I can serve 400 dogs in 1 hour. Yeah, it's pretty much industrialized, like all the steps. So I did in the new school also, and then what I do is the students. I didn't have the other photo where the students they arrange themselves the stalls, the games. So they're very creative, you know, the students. You go to the stall. One stall was you blindfold you, and then inside a biscuit they'll put some different sauce inside, and then you eat that biscuit and guess what that sauce is. And usually all those are spicy sauces. You know, like, so this is diversity when we talk about, okay? And I think in a better, like how, like the Hong Kong that I want in future is, I want to see like something is very natural, like when you see me, and you don't have to treat me specially, like extra. I'm just part, like we are same human beings. And it's just that we have different cultural beliefs or religious beliefs, but that could be accommodated. So this is the pathway that I've gone through up until now. Even my district council job, same thing. So that's how that's how I've been seeing the differences. So yeah, these are the different tours where I take the students for patriotic education. Okay. So we talk about the history of that different place in China and see different places. So you can see here, this is the one in Stonecutter Island. And then a lot of other community events where we promote our Pakistani culture. And then engaging all these kids and letting other government people and also some key leaders to know more about the ethnic minorities culture. So in free time, the sports, the Chinese New Year. This looks like those. I only have this, but then it looks quite cool on me. But some people say that this looks like those gangsters. Gangsters, I know the color and probably with 2 dragons, you know. But yeah, instead of trying to adapt to the local culture. And then here, there's some snapshots of my district councilor life. So after this, I have to rush back to our district council meeting. And then you see when like this is when I got appointed and found my makeshift place on the street. I just sit down on the street and start my work. But this was my 2nd day as a district councilor. I was lucky to find an office. And I still remember when I first went to those real estate agents. I said, I need a place, a shop. And then they look at me and, are you a district councilor? Like, can you be a district, like with that question marks? But things are changing, and I'm serving the Kowloon City District. There are a lot of ethnic minority. I look at my data of my past 1 year work. Of the 1,500 cases, 25% are local Chinese, 75% are non-Chinese, and that 75% comes from all over Hong Kong. I wouldn't say no, like suppose if you come to me, you're from Tung Chung, you come to my district or my office for help, I will not say, Tung Chung, you shouldn't be here, go back there and act. No, I just do it myself. Yes, I understand. If I turn them down, I just make the client suffer. And even my district office colleagues, they will not be happy. Why? Or how to deal with it, because it will take some time. And then that was the opening. Here, you see, what I did was something, I think, very different. You see here, I should have put here, you know what that is? Pig? But I'm a Muslim.
I know.
So I put a roast lamb. Okay. Thing, you know, it can be different. Okay? I still have my shop, like, I mean, I still have the red cloth for opening. You know, the Chinese people, they cover before the opening, waiting for the auspicious day, which I had. And then I have lamb here instead of like pork. Okay? So again, and if you see the poster around, so you're in my territory. Okay? So Kowloon City stretches from Hong Kong to Kowloon Tong and Kai Tak. Like that big, like Tokawang, Kowloon City, Hong Kong, Palmentine, Kowloon Tong, like that big area. So if you happen to be in that area, any problem, please, you can look for me. The number is there, okay? You can also search online. So I try to put these banners like Eid Mubarak, one is Ramadan Mubarak, Happy Chinese New Year, all these, I try to put it, and usually I'm not those district councillors where I point this and take a photo, you know, that means like this bridge, I help fight for you. No, I don't do those. I do these kind of very soft, okay, soft messages. And then, yeah, I take, make good use of the time I have. In Kowloon City District, we will have the Songkran Festival coming up very soon. So mark your schedule, 13th April, 11th to 13th April. And there's lucky draw, the prize is worth $500,000. Okay, so come to Kowloon City and visit. Okay, you can play the games, there are stalls, and food there as well. So this explains, like, I don't like things to be boring, so I'm a very hands-on person. No, it's not that I'm bad at paperwork, but if I can choose, I don't like to do paperwork. I can't sit still. And then these are some other work that we do, you know, giving soup and care about our elderly people in the community. And then this was a religious conference where we got a very big Islamic scholar to come to Hong Kong, engage. And then this was the Sikh temple where we had these big companies. Yeah, in the school, I also did this. Oh, do you know how I pick up this skill? I think I forgot to tell you. When I was 15 years old, my parents were very strict. I have a curfew, 7 o'clock. Can't believe it, right? 7 o'clock curfew. So then I found a trick. I told my parents I need to work part-time. Then I worked in McDonald's, part-time. And usually I work overnight so I can hang out with my friends as well. So keep it a secret there, okay? But anyway, that's how I picked up my ice cream skills. And then this was in the school, we arranged for mental health day, okay? So with other games, and food is soft power, you know, you can attract everyone, even the boring activity, if you have food, people will come. So I also try to, with my district work, I try to line up my network where we provide free services. So because I have some cases where, because I am not I'm not from any political party, I'm an independent person. Being an independent person, the problem is resources. So I find my friends to become, like they're lawyers, they provide free session every month to help. And then now I have some donors who are actually helping some poor people to do free medical checkup, like MRI, PET scan and all these things, free of charge. No need to wait for 2 years in government hospital. So all these things come along. And then we have this Kai Tak. So that is pretty much my narrative. So here, if you like to keep in touch with me, my Instagram is that one, my Facebook, my LinkedIn, and I also have Xiaohongshu. Okay, that's the name inside. So, and from time to time I also mentor And I have students from universities. They shadow me for a period of time in my office, see how I do my community work, or even in school they shadow me. Oh, being a vice principal, is it really cool? And they come and see how I do two jobs at the same time. So yeah, that is pretty much my narrative. So I hope through my sharing, you're able to know more about the struggle I went through, and also the positivity that we have, and we can do better in Hong Kong and contribute to Hong Kong and also to the country. So with that said, I'll pass the time back to the MC.
Thank you, Dr. Ullah, for such an inspiring story. I was myself very motivated. I kind of cried, but I will definitely, yeah, I'll definitely contact you. I actually live in the Collins City District.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So thank you for such an inspiring and motivational speech. So before we move on to the Q&A, can you guys quickly scan the QR code for the feedback form so the library can organize more events and inspire more people like this? And now, if you guys have any questions, it's the time to ask. You can just raise your hand or anything. Anyone has any questions regarding the event? Anything about ethnic minorities, his photographs? Yes.
My question is, how do you compare your the time, like the experience of ethnic minority in Hong Kong, compare now and when you were a kid? Is it improvement or is it the same?
I would say, of course, it's improvement. You have more resources now. Like you have Chinese language education for ethnic minorities now. You can study. At my time, no. We didn't have access to Chinese language education. So people at my age, they were deprived of the Chinese language learning opportunity. Number two, if you look at the policy address of the government, there's always policies looking after the ethnic minority, but back then at my time, no. So we were just ignored. So I would say in the community, everyone is caring about ethnic minority, but the big question is how things can be a little more organic, number one. Number two, how can we achieve more synergy? Like everyone is doing it, but how can we achieve synergy where they really benefit from it? I think we have to move away from those events or just celebratory activity with no sustainable impact. It's very simple. Like, do you see a lot of ethnic minority and the local, they mix together? When they're having lunch, are they all sitting together? If you're going for outing, like naturally you see them, they group together. So this is what we have to see. And whether the society is really inclusive. We can't change the older generation, but we can change the younger generation, especially the university students. Yeah. Any more questions? No, okay. Right.
Thank you. You use the term ethnic minority. How do you feel about that term?
Thank you. That's a very good question, because this discussion has been there for some time. Should we call people like for the sake of discussion, like who are not Chinese? Should we have friends who are like there's a term people of diverse race, or the many terms that appear, but I see if we can have a term that is commonly agreed, perfectly fine. But right now I also understand, like for some, like within the government, if for statistical purpose they use those labeling, perfectly fine. But then can we stay away from this? Yes. If you ask me, of course. But how do I look at the word ethnic minority? I don't look at it from a stigmatization point of view. Rather, I look at it, hey, even a minority can be a majority in terms of power. For example, well, those examples are not good, but I think I give one or two examples. if you look at Iraq and Syria, minority were actually ruling the majority.